You gotta shine with the sun, and here it comes. It's time to make the best of what you've got to give. And if you ever need to see a smiling face, I know right where you can find one each and every day. It's all about early. You better get ready. It's all about early, and I wanna be there.
Live in Jackson, Mississippi, it's Fox 40 and Friends with your hosts Lindsay Slater and C.E. Huffman.
Good morning. Here's what we're working on for you today. We've got a look back at all the 9/11 remembrance ceremonies. Plus, a fatal car crash kills a former cop. And we'll tell you whose murder charges have been dropped.
And starting off your day, temperatures real nice and pleasant, actually in the mid-60s area-wide. I'm going to let you know where our temps are headed for this afternoon and when we'll see the return of showers and storms coming up.
Good morning to you on this Monday, the 12th of September. I'm Kourtney Jackson.
And I'm Lindsay Slater. Coming up for you this morning, we're going to be chatting with a local jewelry maker about upcoming trends and maybe how to make your own jewelry. Save some money, right?
There you go. But first, let's get a check of this weather. Last week, it was so nice.
It was
a little
nice.
warmer this time, right?
It's going to be a little bit warmer this week. Just, you know, the beginning of the week. Right now, our temps are actually in the mid and upper 60s area-wide. 67 in Vicksburg, 65 in Jackson, 64 in Natchez. Stormtrack 40 pinpoint alert Doppler radar. I want to mention that yesterday we did see a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. Most of them were in Yazoo County, Madison counties, a couple in Hinds, and 1 or 2 in Claiborne counties. And we did get some hail reports. Almost up to 2-inch hail was reported in Yazoo. So that is some of the storms we got yesterday. Not a lot made it here to Jackson, but I just wanted to let you know we were watching that one for you yesterday. I'm not really expecting that scenario to continue all week. In fact, it'll be a nice start as you head out the door this morning. We'll see warm afternoons, and I'm expecting those temps to get to the low 90s. Storms and showers will return leading into late week, and I'll have more details on that coming up.
Your time is 7:02, and here's a look at what's topping headlines this morning. It was a day of solemn reflection and renewed hope. In New York, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, and around the world, mourners remembered one of the darkest days in American history. Now, a look back at some of the day's powerful moments.
President Obama says America has come out stronger since the terror attacks on 9/11. Mr. Obama and the First Lady spent the morning at Ground Zero in New York, accompanied by former President and Mrs. Bush. That was followed by ceremonies at the Flight 93 Memorial near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At the Pentagon, the president placed a wreath at a memorial where each of the 184 victims is remembered with a bench and a small reflecting pool. A ceremony of remembrance was held at the Pentagon for survivors' families and friends of victims of the attack.
It feels like 10 years should be a long time, but it doesn't feel like it's been a long time.
Speaking at a memorial concert at the Kennedy Center, the president says the past 10 years show America will not give in to fear.
The rescue workers who rushed to the scene, the firefighters who charged up the stairs, the passengers who stormed the cockpit, these patriots define the very nature of courage.
He says the past 10 years have shown America's resolve.
Diplomats serve in far-off posts, and intelligence professionals work tirelessly without recognition. 2 million Americans have gone to war since 9/11. They've demonstrated that those who do us harm cannot hide from the reach of justice.
The National September 11th Memorial in New York City opens to the public today. It's the first time since the tragedy you'll be allowed to reflect at the exact spot where the towers went down. In New York, Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
F-16 fighter jets shadowed an LA to New York American Airlines flight on the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. This after the activity of 3 passengers drew suspicion. The FBI says the jets were sent to follow the plane after 3 people refused to leave the bathroom. Passengers described the scene after landing at John F. Kennedy International.
A few people had gotten up, they had gave us another announcement, so we assumed that was saying that we were at the gate. And a lot of people began to get up, and then they were very alarmed and they said, listen, we need everyone to just remain seated. Do not get up. And so we quickly realized that there was something going on.
A similar incident also happened on a Denver to Detroit Frontiers airline flight. F-16 shadowed the flight also because of unusual behavior by passengers. Back here at home, the Brandon Reservoir firefighters held a triathlon in remembrance of the World Trade Center victims. On Sunday, a group of more than a dozen runners from various surrounding fire units met for the 11-mile event. This was the second year they've held the anniversary triathlon. The city of Brandon also hosted a 9/11 service over the weekend at the Crossgates Exchange Club soccer fields. Over 1,000 flags were displayed. The event featured guest speaker Sergeant Major Tony Rose, a survivor of the 9/11 attack on the Pentagon. Major Rose received several awards for the lives he saved on that day. To watch more of Sergeant Major Tony Rose, a survivor of the 9/11 attacks on the Pentagon, just go to My 601 and click on the story link, Sergeant Major Tony Rose.
And despite the fact that he didn't have a television
office 10 years ago, Brandon Mayor Tim Coulter was devastated when he went to a nearby restaurant and saw a second jetliner soaring into the World Trade Center South Tower. The mayor shares his story with us.
I think everybody remembers where they were. I was in my office and I had a friend of mine that came in and said that World Trade Centers had been attacked. We did not have TV reception in our office at that time, but I remember we left and went to the closest place, which is a restaurant, sat and watched, for as long as we could anyway. Just an awful day.
The city of Brandon plans on always remembering the 3,000 men and women of 9/11. The Mississippi ACLU discussed the remembrance of the victims of 9/11 at the Mississippi College School of Law this weekend. Members got a chance to see a recently premiered showing of the PBS presentation entitled Better This World. Dr. Michelle Deirdre, a professor of political science at Jackson State University, shares his comments.
This is this tension. It's exciting. I mean, this is not a new concept. What's happened in this video has occurred over and over and over and over again. The difference is now PBS is doing a documentary on it.
The capital city remembered 9/11 victims on the south lawn of the state capitol. The group from a variety of political and religious backgrounds shared their memories from that day. A letter written by a New York fireman's sister-in-law was read, and a candlelight vigil lit up the lawn as everyone remembered those who lost their lives 10 years ago. Over the weekend, Representative Benny Thompson, a member of the House Committee on Homeland Security, also released the following statement commemorating the anniversary. He said, quote, 10 years ago, this nation arose to news of unthinkable tragedy and unimaginable pain. Today, we are again reminded of that tragic day and how it forever changed this great nation. We will never forget those who we lost that Tuesday morning, nor will we forget the heroism of the first responders, law enforcement personnel, and ordinary citizens who responded to the call for help. While we may have made many great strides in the past decade, our work is not yet complete, and we must always remain vigilant in the face of terrorism. Let this anniversary represent an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to the cause of bettering the safety, security, and resiliency of our great nation. A fatal car crash here in the Jackson Metro Friday night. Police responded and discovered 55-year-old John Whitehead unconscious in the driver's seat. According to police reports, Whitehead's Maxima crossed into the oncoming lane before going airborne and striking a tree. Whitehead had retired after serving as a Jackson police officer for over 28 years. To Natchez now, where FBI agents have arrested John Casey Young of Federy, Louisiana, on charges of production of child pornography. FBI special agents say that the 43-year-old Young appeared in federal court in Alexandria Thursday following his arrest. A detention hearing is set for today, and the judge will rule whether Young will remain in custody. And prosecutors have dropped charges against a Fayette man who had been scheduled for trial in Adams County today. Terry Lynn Farmer was found dead in her burned Natchez home on August 20th of 2009. An autopsy showed she died from a gunshot wound to the head. The district attorney says charges against Willie Duck were dropped because of insufficient evidence. Duck had been charged with murder, arson, and attempted rape.
And the New York, New Jersey Port Authority held a memorial service yesterday remembering the victims of 9/11. Now, it was held at St. Peter's Church in Lower Manhattan. Employees who died in the 9/11 attacks, as well as the victims of the 1993 bombing at the World Trade Center, were honored. Mayor Michael Bloomberg spoke about the city's recovery following the attacks.
The hole in our hearts, I think it's fair to say, will never be healed.
84 Port Authority employees were killed in the 9/11 attack in New York. In all, nearly 3,000 people died that day when hijacked planes crashed into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and also a Pennsylvania field. And a day of remembrances to mark the 10th anniversary of 9/11 is coming to an end. President Obama spoke last night at the Concert for Hope to help conclude the observances. He told the crowd gathered at the Kennedy Center in Washington that the U.S. emerged stronger since the terror attacks on September 11, 2001. The concert also featured heartfelt performances from Patti LaBelle and Alan Jackson.
Still ahead on Fox 40 and Friends, mammograms aren't just for older women. We'll tell you why.
And also coming up, I'll get you your 7-day forecast plus solemn ceremonies near the sites of Ground Zero as presidents of honor those who died. More on the anniversary still to come.